The power of daily choices. Let me ask you something that might change how you live the rest of today. What if every tiny decision you make, every yes, every no, every breath, was casting a vote for the person you're becoming? Because the truth is, it is. You don't need a life-altering event to redirect your future. Sometimes it's as small as choosing not to hit snooze, saying no to the extra drink, taking 5 minutes to journal, or even pausing before reacting with anger. In the eyes of the Stoics, ancient philosophers who lived with unmatched clarity and strength, every action is an opportunity to practice virtue, to train your mind, to build your character. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And that right there is the core of Stoic philosophy. It's not about controlling the world. It's about mastering your perception of it. We live in an era obsessed with instant results, quick wins, viral moments, shortcuts to success. But real growth, real strength, it's quiet, it's disciplined. It happens in the shadows, in the small, consistent choices you make when no one's watching. This video isn't about surface-level motivation. It's about building a life that doesn't break when things get hard. It's about learning to see adversity as training. It's about embodying strength, peace, and purpose, one habit at a time. So in the next few minutes, we're going to walk through 10 daily habits rooted in Stoic wisdom. Habits designed not just to make you feel better, but to make you stronger, wiser, unshakable. And here's the key. None of this is about perfection. It's about progress through practice. Because when you commit to showing up with intention, day after day, the world may not notice at first, but you will. You'll feel the shift. So if you're ready to stop reacting and start rising, let's begin with the first habit. And remember, your future is hidden inside the choices you make today. Habit 1. Cultivate a positive attitude. Your attitude shapes your reality. A positive perspective can turn any setback into a lesson and any day into a gift. Let me ask you something. When was the last time life threw you something unfair, something frustrating, maybe even painful? Now think back. What shaped your day more? The event itself or how you responded to it? Epictetus, a man who once lived as a slave before becoming a great Stoic teacher, said it best. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And in those 14 words lies one of the most powerful mental tools we have: choice. You see, life isn't fair. It never promised to be. But what it does offer you every single morning is the power to decide your perspective. You can choose to see the rain as miserable or as cleansing, the traffic jam as wasted time, or as a moment to reflect, breathe, and reset. That's where Stoicism isn't just philosophy. It's a daily practice, a way of life. What if you reframe setbacks as invitations to grow? What if every annoying client, every long line, every plan that goes sideways was actually life training you, teaching you how to stay calm, kind, and strong under pressure? Start small. Be grateful for the tiny things. The warmth of your coffee cup in the morning, the way sunlight hits your kitchen table, the fact that you're still breathing and evolving. These aren't cliches. Gratitude rewires your brain. It shifts your focus away from lack and toward abundance, toward what's working, not just what's missing. And when emotions rise, pause. Just pause. Because often, it's not the situation that breaks us. It's our judgment about the situation. So before reacting, ask yourself, is this really a problem, or just an expectation I'm clinging to? And here's the final piece, one that Stoicism and psychology both agree on. Kindness isn't weakness. It's strength applied outward. Because everyone you meet is carrying a silent struggle. You don't need to fix them, but your smile, your patience, your restraint could be the exact reminder they needed today that peace is still possible. So cultivate a positive attitude, not for show, not to impress others, but because your mind is your garden. And whatever seeds you water, those are the ones that will grow. Are you planting frustration or strength? Habit 2, enhance communication. Speak with purpose. Listen with presence. True communication begins when we stop trying to impress and start trying to understand. Let's be honest. When was the last time you truly listened to someone without already thinking about what to say next? Most of us hear, but we don't listen. We speak, but not always with clarity. And we react, often without thinking about how our words land. But here's what the Stoics and modern psychologists agree on. Mastering your words is mastering your life. Because every conversation you have is a choice to create connection or to create division. Communication isn't just about exchanging words. It's about exchanging energy. When you pause and truly listen, not to win, not to fix, but to understand, you create something powerful. You create space for the other person to feel seen. And in that space, trust is built. Think about it. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling lighter, more grounded, just because someone actually heard you? That's the impact you can offer every day. But communication goes deeper than listening. It's also about how you speak. Stoicism teaches us to speak with truth, but also with grace. Clarity doesn't mean being harsh. Honesty doesn't have to be brutal. You can be direct without being destructive. And here's the key. Your words carry weight. They either lift people or break them down. So before you speak, ask yourself, is what I'm about to say helpful, necessary, kind? It doesn't mean you sugarcoat the truth. It means you deliver it in a way that builds, not burns. And when a conversation turns difficult, when emotions run high, don't forget this. Empathy is your superpower. You don't have to agree to understand. You don't have to fix someone's problem to make them feel supported. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is simply, I hear you. I'm with you. And sometimes, silence is your strongest tool. Not the cold, punishing kind of silence, but the thoughtful kind, the kind that gives room for others to reflect and for you to avoid saying something you'll regret. In a world addicted to noise, your calm presence becomes magnetic. And that, my friend, is true strength. So remember, enhance your communication, not for manipulation, not for applause, but because every word you speak echoes in someone else's life. Will your voice be one that heals or one that harms? Habit 3, practice self-discipline. Discipline is freedom. Master yourself daily, and you'll never be at the mercy of chaos. Let's talk about a word that isn't sexy, but silently builds champions. Discipline. Not the kind that punishes. Not the kind you were forced into as a kid. I'm talking about the kind that frees you. The kind that says, I choose what's best for my future, even if it's hard now. The Stoics lived by this. For them, self-discipline wasn't about control for control's sake. It was about liberation from impulse. It's pausing in the moment, breathing, and asking, does this serve the person I'm trying to become? That morning when you don't want to get up early? That late night craving for junk food when you said you'd eat clean. That urge to scroll social media instead of journaling, reading, or resting. Those aren't small moments. They're the battlefields of your becoming. Self-discipline begins with clarity. What matters to you, not just today, but for the long haul? Health, purpose, inner peace. Set goals that align with that. Make them real. Make them reachable. Because vague ambition leads to vague results. Then, build systems, not just motivation. You won't always feel like showing up, but your routines will carry you through. That's why the most successful people rely on morning rituals. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. Even something as simple as waking up, drinking water, meditating for 2 minutes, or making your bed, it's not just a task. It's a declaration. I'm choosing to live with intention today. And here's the paradox. The more disciplined you become, the freer you feel. Why? Because you're no longer a prisoner to mood swings, cravings, or distractions. You begin to experience a deeper joy, not the fleeting kind that comes from indulgence, but the lasting kind that comes from right action. Joy from doing what's hard because it's right. Joy from becoming someone you respect. At the end of each day, the Stoics reflected, not to self-criticize, but to grow. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? Where can I improve? That quiet self-accountability, that's where transformation lives. Because self-discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being aligned. Aligned with your principles. Aligned with your highest self. So the question isn't, can I do this forever? The question is, can I do the right thing just for today? And the answer is always yes. Habit 4, shift your mindset. Shift your lens, reshape your life. What you see depends on how you choose to look, not what's actually there. Let me ask you something. When life throws something unexpected at you, what's your first instinct? To react or to reframe? Because here's a truth the Stoics knew long before neuroscience confirmed it. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you interpret it. That's what it means to shift your mindset. You lose your job. You're stuck in traffic. You get criticized online. Those moments aren't the problem. How you see them. That's where your power lives. Epictetus taught that events are neither good nor bad. It's your judgment that makes them so. That's deep, but let's break it down. Every obstacle, every challenge is an invitation to grow, to practice patience, to sharpen your resilience. When you shift your mindset, a setback becomes training. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? And this doesn't mean you pretend everything's perfect. It means you train your mind to stop feeding the fear and start feeding the strength. Self-awareness is key here. When a negative thought pops up, pause. Don't just accept it, challenge it. Is it true? Is it useful? Would your wisest self believe it? Our minds are like gardens. If you're not intentional about what you plant, weeds grow by default. So, what are you feeding your mind with? Are you scrolling through anger, outrage, and empty noise? Or are you consuming wisdom, growth, and purpose? Choose your input. It shapes your output. And here's the Stoic twist. Understand that everything changes. People, seasons, moods, circumstances. Nothing lasts. That's not something to fear. It's something to embrace. Impermanence gives life its urgency, its beauty, its meaning. So practice letting go. Let go of what you can't change. Let go of what no longer serves your growth. and instead pour your energy into shaping your perception. Because when you shift your mindset, you shift your world. Habit 5. Master time management. Time reflects your values. How you spend your minutes reveals what you truly care about. Let me ask you something. How often do you end your day feeling like you were busy all day, but accomplished nothing meaningful? It's not because you're lazy. It's because the world is loud. Urgency shouts. Distractions multiply. And somewhere between emails, notifications, and endless to-do lists, your most important work gets lost. That's why time management isn't just a productivity hack. It's a philosophical practice. The Stoics taught us to align our actions with our values, to not waste what is most precious, time. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. So what's truly important to you? Start there. Prioritize that. Instead of reacting to what feels urgent, choose what's essential. Instead of multitasking yourself into exhaustion, do one thing, fully, mindfully, intentionally, because clarity comes from focus, not from trying to juggle everything. Try this. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I live with intention or was I just reacting? It's a small question, but it changes everything. Embrace simplicity. Declutter your calendar. Say no more often. Not because you're selfish, but because your energy is sacred. You weren't meant to fill every minute. You were meant to fill each moment with purpose. Even rest, real rest, is part of mastery. Schedule breaks, step outside, breathe, not as a luxury, but as a strategy to renew your mental clarity. Managing your time isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. So if you feel overwhelmed, don't speed up. Slow down, zoom out, realign. Time is life measured in moments, and every moment is a vote for the person you're becoming. Habit 6. Grow your knowledge, feed your mind, sharpen your soul. Growth starts with curiosity and deepens through reflections and sharing. Let's talk about one of the greatest superpowers you already have, but might not be using fully: curiosity. You see, the Stoics weren't just masters of self-control. They were students of life, tireless seekers of wisdom. Epictetus, for example, was born a slave, but he didn't let that stop him from becoming one of the most respected philosophers of his time. Why? Because he never stopped learning. In today's world, we drown in information, but starve for wisdom. That's why it's not just about reading more. It's about reading better. It's about seeking out ideas that challenge your assumptions, expand your vision, and push you past your comfort zone. So here's a question worth asking every day. What did I learn today that actually matters? Not just trivia or surface-level facts, but insights that shift how you see the world or yourself. Maybe you picked up a book and finally understood why Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Maybe a podcast reminded you to stop complaining and start doing. Or maybe you taught someone else a lesson you just learned and realized that teaching doesn't just help them, it deepens your own understanding too. Knowledge without action is noise, but knowledge practiced daily, that's transformation. So grow your mind like a Stoic. Be curious, read intentionally, reflect deeply, and then share what you've learned, not to impress, but to uplift. That's not just self-improvement. That's how you become a force of wisdom in a noisy world. Habit 7. Build strong financial habits. Spend with wisdom, not impulse. True wealth is measured in freedom, not in things. Let's be honest, money is one of the most emotionally charged topics in our lives. But here's the thing, true wealth isn't about having more. It's about needing less and using what you have with wisdom. The Stoics didn't obsess over riches. In fact, they warned against it. Seneca, one of the wealthiest philosophers in Roman history, once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." So here's the mindset shift. Financial strength isn't measured by your income. It's measured by your behavior. It's how you manage your money when no one's watching. It's choosing long-term peace over short-term pleasure. Start by embracing contentment. Audit your life. How much of what you spend actually aligns with your values? And how much is just noise? Every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of life you want. Build a value-based budget, one that reflects what truly matters to you. Prioritize security over status. Set up an emergency fund not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Think of it as your stoic safety net, prepared for life's unpredictability without panic. Then invest with clarity, not just financially, but mentally. Invest in skills and relationships, in time-tested principles. Let your money grow slowly, intentionally, like planting seeds, not chasing quick wins. And finally, practice generosity. The Stoics believed we're all part of one human family. So give, not for applause, but because a strong hand is meant to lift others, not just count coins. In a world that tells you to chase more, the Stoic path is to master enough. Habit 8. Embrace personal growth, evolve. Don't just exist. Every small improvement compounds if you choose to grow with intention. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked in the mirror, not to check your reflection, but to check in with your character? That's where personal growth begins, not with a book or a podcast, but with honest self-awareness. The ability to pause and ask, why did I react that way? What belief drove that choice? What kind of person am I becoming? In Stoic philosophy, growth isn't about chasing perfection. It's about aligning yourself with virtue. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations to impress others. He wrote them to correct himself, to stay on the path, to be a little better each day. So what does that look like in your life? It means setting goals that reflect your values, not your ego. Goals that push you to be more patient, more disciplined, more kind, not just more productive. It means stepping outside your comfort zone, not to suffer, but to stretch. Growth happens at the edges, in the uncomfortable conversations, in the moments where you'd rather quit but choose to stay. And most importantly, it means mastering your emotional responses, not suppressing them, but choosing not to be ruled by them. Strength isn't in having no emotion. It's in having control over how you express it. Here's one more thing. Growth doesn't happen alone. The Stoics valued mentors, feedback, and community. Seek people who challenge you, not just cheer you on. And be that person for someone else. Because every step forward you take, every moment you choose reflection over reaction, is a step toward the person you're meant to become. Growth isn't a destination, it's a daily decision. Habit 9. Align with your purpose. Live on purpose, not autopilot. Clarity of purpose turns ordinary days into meaningful direction. Let me ask you a powerful question. Are you living with purpose or just passing time? In the rush of daily responsibilities, it's easy to drift, doing what's urgent but forgetting what's important. But the Stoics taught that without a guiding purpose, We're like a ship without a rudder, tossed by the waves of distraction and noise. So what does it mean to align with your purpose? It starts with knowing yourself, your strengths, your passions, your natural gifts. What do you bring into the world that uplifts others? What lights you up, not just for a moment, but in a way that gives your days deeper meaning? Once you have a glimpse of that, you begin to ask, how can I serve others with what I have? Because purpose isn't found in isolation. It's born when your talents meet a need greater than yourself. But here's the truth most people miss. Purpose isn't a fixed destination. It evolves, and your goals should evolve with it. Don't be afraid to reassess, to refine, to shift direction when your deeper self starts whispering for something more honest, more real. Every day is a chance to reflect that purpose in your choices, in how you spend your time, who you choose to be around, what you say yes or no to. Your calendar should match your calling. Your actions should echo your values. And when you integrate purpose into the small things, how you write an email, how you listen to your partner, how you show up to a meeting, that's when life starts to feel not just productive, but powerful. Because living with purpose isn't about being busy, it's about being aligned. So ask yourself today, am I on the path that honors who I am and who I want to become? Habit 10, practice deep gratitude. Gratitude unlocks peace. Recognizing what you have is the first step to needing less and loving more. Let me ask you something you probably haven't asked yourself today. What have you already been given that you're forgetting to notice? You see, gratitude isn't just about being thankful when things go right. Anyone can do that. But true, deep gratitude, the kind that changes how you live, is about appreciating everything, even the hard stuff, even the lessons disguised as setbacks. The Stoics do this well. They didn't wait for life to be perfect before they felt thankful. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that each day is a gift, even the difficult ones, because every experience shapes the soul. The rain teaches us to value the sun. The silence reminds us of the beauty and sound. And the challenges, they sharpen us. Here's something simple but powerful. Start each day with just one moment of reflection. Before the coffee, before the emails, ask yourself, what am I grateful for right now that I usually overlook? Maybe it's the roof above you. Maybe it's your breath, your eyesight, a message from a friend, or just the warmth of sunlight on your face. When we train ourselves to notice the ordinary, we begin to realize how extraordinary life actually is. And there's more. When you express gratitude toward others, you strengthen the bond of trust and connection. A sincere thank you, a thoughtful compliment, a small gesture of appreciation. These things ripple further than you think. Gratitude also helps silence the endless craving for more. When you truly see what you already have, you stop comparing, you stop chasing, and you start living. So here's the challenge. Cherish this moment, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. Life is impermanent. Everything you love is passing. And that's not meant to sadden you. It's meant to wake you up. Live with your eyes open. Appreciate the now. And you'll find that gratitude isn't just a feeling. It's a way of seeing the world that makes you richer without needing more. So here's your Stoic toolkit for daily greatness. Attitude, communication, discipline, mindset, time, knowledge, finances, growth, purpose, and gratitude. Practice these daily, and you won't just survive life, you'll master it. So here we are, 10 habits, 10 daily disciplines. But in truth, it all circles back to one timeless truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. And that's the Stoic way, not to chase applause or wait for motivation, but to live each day with clarity, virtue, and courage. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about choosing again and again to show up with intention, especially when no one's watching. So pause for a moment. Which one of these 10 habits speaks to you the most today? Which one could change everything if you just started now? Because the life you admire isn't built in some distant future. It's shaped in small moments, practiced daily, lived deliberately. And if this message resonated with you, even just a little, don't let it fade into the scroll of the next video. Reflect, act, and join us on this path of daily mastery. Subscribe now, not for more content, but for more reminders of who you're becoming. Until next time, stay grounded, stay resilient, stay true. Because being stoic isn't about being cold. It's about being clear, calm, and committed to your best self.